This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by promoter Frank Warren here in Nottingham. Frank, from the bright lights of Saudi to the bright lights of Nottingham.
Great to be here. You know, we've got more like a nigh-on sellout show, a fabulous fight card, a brilliant main event, all 50-50 fights, no gimmies for anybody, and it's going to be a special night.
I didn't realise it, and I hope I'm not incorrect in when Dev said 20 years since you last came to Nottingham, and now you're coming back with a man in Lee Wood who is known for selling out, and Anthony Cacace, you're a man who you've brought through those tough times. He's been world champion, and in a fight which everybody's expecting to catch fire pretty quickly come Saturday night.
I think it's caught fire already. Look, styles make fights, all the old adages, everything. These two guys are two proud warriors. They've done it at all levels, and it's got fight written all over it. It's going to be something special. The atmosphere is going to be unbelievable in the place. And the undercard as well is sensational.
I mean, I wasn't actually expecting to see Ezra Taylor and Troy Jones having not necessarily back and forth, but certainly when Louis Edmondson came into the equation, seemed to start to get a little bit fiery there.
Well, there's a good, he gets the winner. We do the winner. But what you've got there, and when you look at it, you've got two undefeated fighters. You've got in the Midlands, Nottingham versus Birmingham. 11-0, 12-0. It's got fight. That's what it is.
Obviously, Liam Davies and Kurt Walker's a fantastic fight as well, and a tough one for Liam Davies to come back to.
Well, he's coming up a weight, and he's struggling previously. He's come up a weight now, and it's a tough fight he's coming back to. He represented Ireland in the Olympic Games, Kurt, and it's a really, really good competitive fight.
Obviously, Owen Cooper and Chris Congo, another fantastic fight, Frank. But just on the Chris Congo front, I know he's after those big names, those big fights. Is it simply if he's successful against Owen Cooper, we see him with one of those big, if not domestic, then certainly a world level now?
Yeah, I think you're right. But he's going to have Owen impressed me in his last fight. He got beat, but he impressed me. I think that was maybe a bit too soon for him, but he showed he's got some really good boxing skills. So let's see what he's learned from that last fight.
I wasn't in Saudi, I was in New York, but talk to me about Saudi, seeing Canelo in the flesh, live, and what did you make of his performance against William Scull?
I thought he was in with someone who was pretty slick, he was a mover. The styles didn't complement each other, let's be honest about it, and I thought it was a close fight.
We know that the Canelo-Crawford fight was announced for September 12th. Do you feel like from how William Scull fought, that's laid out somewhat of a blueprint for Terence Crawford?
Yeah, you've got to be a mover, and Terence is a mover. I think it makes it a much more intriguing fight now. They're two quality fighters, and the both of them believing they can win. It's always that old thing about a good big and a beat a good little one, but I just feel the skills may just compensate a bit for the weight.
So do you slightly favour Terence?
No, I don't favour him. I still favour Canelo, but having said that, I think it's a little bit of a different fight than I thought it was going to be at first.
You just have to ask you, Frank. Tyson's obviously put a little bit of training footage out with him and Sugar Hill. I know you've probably been asked about it recently, but the Anthony Joshua fight, do you feel like something could happen once again there? Who
knows? We'll see what happens. Tyson, I haven't had any conversation about him coming back. If he comes back, that'll be of his own decision, his own volition. If he wants to do it, he'll do it. If not, he'll stay retired.
Let me just get your thoughts, Frank. Alexander Usyk said that the final fight of his career, if Daniel Dubois goes successfully in his mind, he wanted to be one of the Fury or AJ trilogy. Do you think Tyson would prioritise a chance to right the wrongs of the Usyk fights to face AJ, or would he go in with Usyk instead if he had the choice?
I don't know. That'd be his decision. They're all intriguing situations. All it does show you, everybody wants to see Tyson back in a ring again.
How much is heavyweight division missing Tyson?
Yeah, he brings a lot of fun to it and skills to it, and he's exciting. He's never in a boring fight, is he? But love him or hate him, when he gets in that ring, things happen.
We've obviously done an interview with Rob talking about Usyk Dubois, but a man who's waiting for his chance is Joseph Parker. By AJ's own admission, he feels Joe Parker deserves his crack at a world title currently more than what he does. Where does Joe Parker's future lie?
Well, Joe Parker's the WBO mandatory contender, and the WBO have ordered that the next, after this fight, the WBO champion has to defend against him. So he's in a great position. Where he was going to fight for one belt, he'd probably be fighting for four belts.
Speaking of heavyweights, young Moses Itauma. Now, I know there was a lot of noise at the beginning of his career trying to break Mike Tyson's record. He's just going to miss out on that now. But do you feel like it's not a relief, but it can finally, people can stop talking about it. He can just focus on his career because he will be a world champion. He will arguably become that undisputed champion in the future.
Well, let's see if he can become beat Nazi's record, being the youngest British world champion.
What's the plan for him moving forward? I know he's fighting in Scotland in a couple of weeks' time.
In Scotland, and then we'll see how the dust settles. But you know, we've got a plethora of heavyweights on our books, and it's not going to be very difficult to make fights for him.
On that note, Frank, I've had a lot of people tell me a lot of people keep turning down the fight with Moses. How difficult have you found trying to match make it in that sense?
It's difficult, but I'd much rather it be my job than somebody else's.
Wardley Miller, Frank, that's no longer on. Wardley versus Justice Huni is on instead.
Right. You know, he's got great amateur experience. I think he's about 12-0, undefeated. He's can bang. And you look at with Fabio's done brilliantly for himself, but no amateur experience. And when I look at the fight, I think to myself, for me on paper, this could be Fabio's. Well, he is Fabio's toughest opponent on paper.
What made you guys choose Justice ahead of? I saw Filip Hrgovic being mentioned.
There was a few, but we got the deal done. That was what we sat down and worked the deal out, and that's it. And you know, we're in a stadium. We can't bring in Joe Blow from Alamo. We had to bring in somebody who's going to be there and is going to be competitive. And there's one thing about Justice is that he's a competitive fighter.
Can I just ask what happened with Jarrell Miller and why that fight no longer proceeds?
We got a note from his team saying he's torn his shoulder.
Just moving forward to Scotland, Josh Taylor versus Echo Essuman. Talking about that fight and also a potential trilogy with Jack Catterall. I've seen a lot of talk recently about that.
Well, it's got to first of all get through Echo, and Echo is no slouch, as you know. Again, sold out arena. It's a brilliant fight. Don't underestimate Echo. Your magazine last year, the 3 fights of the year, we had the heavyweight fight, Fraser Clark and Fabio, and the next 2 fights were both fights that Echo was in. He comes to fight. We've got a good fight up there. Josh has got to win it. Former 2-time again world champion. It's one where he can't afford to slip up. But Echo's no slouch. He's going into the Lion's Den, as Anto is on Saturday here. It's got fight written all over it.
That's one from me, Frank. Canelo Inoue fought this weekend as well. He got the stoppage, but it's shown some vulnerability again, bringing Inoue-Ball into the equation. How much do you fancy your chances if Inoue was to move on?
I like Nick in the fight. I've said that from the beginning. Inoue, I'm a massive fan. You know, look, guys get caught. It's when they get up and win. That's fighters who can take a punch when you can get off the floor and come back. And he's a quality fighter. Nick, we're announcing in a big fight in a couple of weeks' time. We get that done. Nick's got to win. Inoue's going to have another fight, and then hopefully we get him on at the end of the year or February in what I believe will be a super fight. I mean, I don't mean a super fight, I mean a super fight, a great fight.
Just to ask on that note, just before Nick fought TJ Doheny, I asked him about the Inoue fight, and he said that to his knowledge, his team had reached out just to see how Inoue's team felt about the fight. So
they're up for it. They're up for it.
Tentative talks, would you say?
Yeah, they got, as I say, they got to win their respective fights and come through those, and I'm quite sure we'll get it done.
Frank, I appreciate your time. Enjoy Saturday.
Cheers, Andy.